Hi, welcome to Cruising in Comfort. We just bought our 23 Travato 59K home last month and enjoyed our first 10-day trip to the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's a beautiful place. And we will do a little video on that in the future. This video is about the very first mod we did to our Travato, getting a bigger storage compartment for the waste or tank hose. When we went to pick up our Travato at Bob Ledford's Adventure Homes, they offered what they called a deluxe starter kit, which included the things you might need during your 2 days of camping in the dealer's camping area for testing and learning the systems in the Travato. One of those things was the RhinoFLEX RV sewer hose kit. From some previous research, I found that it was a popular item among RVers. It contains 2 hoses with a clear elbow and the universal adapter to connect to the sewage connection or the dump station. The 2 hoses shrink down to 39 inches each when compressed, and each expands to 10 foot. From what I've heard, it's good to be prepared in case the dump station is further than you expect. However, we picked up the starter kit after our walkthrough with the RV technician, and that was my first time seeing the items in the kit. During our walkthrough, one of the things we were shown was the storage compartment for the hose. Well, as we're learning, we're finding out that the starter kit we got from the dealership comes with these 2 Rhino black tank hoses, and yesterday when we took them out and tried to put them in, and this is what happened. Now this is the black tank hose holder, and put it in, and it wouldn't close. Now I'm gonna look under here, and it only goes back, I think it's 27 inches. So we have to make some adjustments. The hoses and the adapters, taking into consideration the fact that the Rhino was better designed and a higher quality hose, I decided that is what I would want to use while on the road and staying at campgrounds that offer those services. So my research began. It didn't take long to come across the Valterra adjustable easy hose carrier. It comes in different adjustable sizes. So I chose the Valterra RV adjustable easy hose carrier with a lockable door cap in the color of black. The size is 50 inches to 94 inches, and it expands, and when opened up, that 94 inches comes in handy, and it works great. Fixing the problem. So now that we have a plan, the mod to replace the hose storage begins by removing the existing storage tube that came with the Travato. And all that takes to remove a couple of nuts from the bracket holding it on the driver's side, but make sure you leave the bracket itself attached to the chassis, and a couple of self-tapping screws that hold in the rear bracket that attaches the bracket to the chassis. On the back, you do want to remove the bracket from the chassis. Once you're done, The original storage compartment will be off the chassis and you can take it out. First, we started out by making sure that we could use the original spot of the 27-inch hose storage tube, by making sure there were no obstructions in the way of the new storage tube. We then proceeded to assess if the new placement would interfere with anything in the general vicinity of the path. We did this from both the driver and passenger side of the Travato. It all looked good, so we proceeded on to the next step. After some basic test placements and making sure there were no surprises in the planned spot, we proceeded to review each step using the dry run to check the clearances of the storage tube all the way to the other side and to decide on the spots where we would attach the needed brackets. Getting the original box that the Valterra storage tube arrived in to support it at the height it needed while we went through the process to verify the previous steps. We used the two original nuts and bolts from the factory installed hose tube located here to use on the Valterra hose tube. So doing the install consisted of using the box that the storage tube came in to help raise the new storage tube up so we could connect it to the existing driver's side bracket that was already connected to the chassis. Using the original nut and bolts that we removed from the old storage tube, we loosely connected it. Then moving around to the passenger side, I used the self-tapping screws to connect the mounting bracket that comes with the Valterra storage tube to the underside of the chassis, included with the Valterra tube, for a tight and secure fit. And all seemed great, or did it? Quickly realized it wasn't. So I quickly realized when I tested the fit of the hoses into the storage tube that I forgot to include the elbow and the universal adapter for the sewer inlet. My plan was to keep all those parts in the tube. I knew I had to extend the adjustable storage tube by about 5 inches. It really wasn't difficult. I did have to order a larger hose clamp to replace the one that came with the Valterra tube bracket, just to compensate for a lip on the chassis. So reviewing the issues and deciding on how to proceed, I know I had to take into consideration the lip on the chassis, the bracket setup, and expand the tube to increase the length, adding that additional 5 inches. The decisions were easy once I figured out how to handle the lip in the chassis and how it wouldn't really affect the installation. I decided to do this by putting the unattached bracket that came with the Valterra into the same spot that the bracket that is permanently attached to the end of the Valterra was in originally. To deal with the lip, I would replace the existing hose clamp on that bracket with a longer hose clamp to go around the tube and also take into account the 1-inch lip. Once this was done and before I tightened everything, I increased the length of the tube by about 5 inches. Now the tube extended to the bottom side of the step, but was out of the way. After tightening everything up, the tube was securely in place. At this point, I'm considering putting in a self-tapping screw on the bracket on the bottom side of the step as added support in case the hose clamp does fail for some reason in the future. The final placement extends the storage tube to the bottom of the passenger side step. I chose not to bolt it in there in case I needed to change the length and for any reason. By using a larger hose clamp, I was able to attach the tube to the same spot I originally had it after the first installation, and still extend it the additional 5 inches. Then I basically made make sure everything was tight and secured everything to eliminate any movement of the tube while on the road. Going through the final check, I set the hose up, this time including both the adapter and the elbow, and proceeded to double check my work. I used the passenger side access to put the hose in, showing that it can be used if necessary. Then going around to the driver's side, where I will usually access the hose, you can see the adapter and the clear elbow will fit. I will add links to the items in the description. The final outcome, all parts of the black hose have a home and never need to come inside the RV. Thanks for watching, and we hope you are cruising in comfort.